Okay.
I'm smart. Hey, we should be live.
Excellent. I am still waiting to see it at my side. There we go. We are now live.
Oh, looks like we have 3, 4. Oh, oh wow, we have
Excellent.
people.
Well, hello everyone who is watching us right now.
Hey guys,
Uh,
what's up? Oh, that needs
we
to
are.
be on this other monitor. Oops. Okay. The stream is on the right monitor, but my program was not.
that makes things a little more difficult for you.
It do indeed.
So to all of our viewers, welcome to the Children of Anima Character Showcase live stream. I'm Tarly Wolf. I'm co-writer, and the one currently drawing is Ty Lane, who is the artist and fellow co-writer of the Children of Anima comic.
Hello.
This live stream will be held every week for the next 2 months. In it, we will be drawing a different character every week, each one holding a different LGBTQ plus flag to show where they stand in the rainbow. We'll also be talking about the character in question, talking about their pasts, their interests, the inspirations behind them, and what we're excited about for them. Today, as you can see on the screen, we will be drawing Arielle Bourne, who is a regular character in the Children of Anima comic. You'll see
actually already met her.
You have.
Oh,
She was in the prologue, which, if you haven't read it yet, you can find the link in the
description.
The
link in the description is for our Patreon.
Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot of her in the coming chapters, even if you haven't read the prologue yet. She's not afraid to make herself known. So you have that to look forward to. And now on to the interesting stuff. Yeah?
Yep. Well, I will say Arielle is very much your girl. So I think most of the talking is going to be done by you. And I'm going to draw.
So you will be putting in your 2 cents when you want to.
Yes, I will. Because I like to interrupt sometimes.
Yes, Arielle is definitely my girl. So some basic stuff about her. She is 27. She's blonde-haired, blue-eyed. She stands around 5'9", and you should never ask a lady about her weight, so that's being kept confidential. Especially since this one can hurt you if you insult her enough. She's very certain in her opinions, and she is not afraid to voice them, especially if she's been getting little sleep. Her personal motto is that perseverance will overcome any obstacle. Nothing is too much for someone who truly desires something and is willing to work toward their goal. It's been what's driven her for the last 15 years, and definitely in the last 10 since she and Zeke have had to literally rebuild their pack from almost nothing. But more on that later. She is a wolf shifter, meaning that she can shift into the form of a wolf at will, not to be confused with werewolves, because they are not really bound by the moon. Now, her place in the pack is that of the lore leader, which traditionally keep track of the various beings around a pack's territories, strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, whether they're violent or otherwise. And they're generally tasked with helping with treaties between packs or other races. Occasionally, they can double as an advisor for the Alpha. More modern lore leaders tend to research or keep information on hand about most or all known beings that they know about, just in case they migrate nearby and decide to cause trouble. This is especially true in Arielle's case, who took a minor on preternatural lore in college, just so that she could more easily fulfill her job when she came back. Outside of the pack, she's actually a lawyer specializing in family law, as there's little call for anything else in their small town, which has less than 2,500 people in it. Really small town in Oregon. Let's see. Her family. Well, both of her parents are dead. They both died in the massacre that happened 10 years ago. Again, more on that later. She has no siblings, but she does have two.
She do have.
She does have 2 kids. Neither of which were biologically created. She adopted both of them.
I mean, they were biologically created, just not by her.
I said neither of which she biologically created.
Oh, I didn't hear the she.
I thought I said it. We'll have to watch this later and see. Place little bets going on about all that, huh?
No. What?
I love Arielle, how she looks. She is so on point with how I imagined her in the beginning. And I know I'm getting a little off topic from everything that I've been talking about just now, but Arielle is one of those women who is always well together. And not gonna lie, little jealous.
Right, though?
But
Not even a lady, and I'm jealous. To be fair, I just want to be well put together.
That's a mood, though. I very much agree with that. But yeah, she has adopted 2 children, both of which before she was technically out of college, and those are some interesting stories that'll pop up in just a little bit, actually. Let's see. A bit of history about her, which is where a lot of this comes up later, will pop back into relevance. She spent her entire life as part of this pack, the Graham pack, in case anyone is wondering, because I don't think it's been mentioned yet anywhere. And she never really thought about leaving it for anything more than college, maybe. She never wanted to explore the world or travel to other states or leave this pack behind for another one. This was her home, and like most wolves, she's very territory oriented, and not likely to wander away. Although there are wolves that do for one reason or another. She discovered that she was asexual fairly early in life, like around high school, I guess. When all of her peers were realizing their sexual awakening, she was mostly repulsed by even the thought of touching anyone in that way, or having anyone touch her in that way, as the case may be. So technically, she is considered asexual, sex repulsed. And for those of you who don't know, there are multiple, 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 multiple parts in that spectrum of asexuality. You can be anywhere from sex repulsed to just it's not something you want to do. On the other side of the spectrum, we have demisexual, which is you don't feel a sexual attraction until there is a mental or emotional connection as well, like you. And aromantic is also part of this asexual spectrum, where I think they're part of this spectrum. If it's not, someone correct me. But aromantic is where you don't feel romantic love. Yeah.
It's just not for you.
It's just not for you. Like, you can still like people and feel very close to them, and you feel the friendship and the familial stuff, but you don't feel the romantic love.
And that's perfectly okay.
It is. We know someone. We know at least one person who's aromantic.
Yep.
But yeah, so she, getting back on track, realized fairly early that she was asexual, because when you don't even want to consider the idea of bumping uglies, as it were, it kind of becomes obvious. But she knew that even before high school, she knew that she wanted to follow her mother's steps since she was a little girl. Her mother was a lawyer before her death, also died in the Pack massacre 10 years ago. And at 13, she was tapped to begin training as the next lore leader, because in wolf packs at 13, children are considered emotionally evolved or grown up enough to begin training in one of many responsibilities the pack has to their territory, to each other, etc. Her father was the last lore leader, and she enjoyed the lessons he gave her immensely, and she often spent as much time as she could reading the tomes and furthering her education in that way. And since their deaths, her career and her pack position have been a way that she can feel close to her parents, and keep them in her memory in very positive lights. Because that's what we do when we lose people. So yeah, she lost both her parents in the massacre, as I've stated. What happened was that some unknown entity came into the territory, and killed someone. And the alpha of the Graham pack, Zeke's mother, gathered her wolves and tried to do as much research as they could to figure out what it was. And she talked with the lore leader and the pack wizard, and when they could find little or nothing, they went out to meet it, because it was destroying the territory, like taking down trees. Anyone who went to try and figure out, see anything about it, died. So she needed to take care of the problem to her territory. Zeke had just turned 18 when this happened. Instead of being taken along with everyone else, he was left in charge of the children that remained, and the elders, who were too old to really do any fighting. And unfortunately, very few came back from that. And those that did were infected, is, I suppose, a good term for that. and they all but one of the wolves who came back wasted away and died. So to this day, there is only one wolf in the pack who survived the massacre. But after the massacre, the creature just vanished. Zeke has never seen it. He's never been anywhere near it. He doesn't know what it was, and the wolf's Terrell's attempts to explain what it was are confused and vague and lost behind terror and blood, and have been singularly unhelpful in pinning down what this thing was or what it wanted. They don't know if it's dead or if it just left, and they don't know if it's going to come back. But they have, or rather Zeke at the very least, and Arielle has been preparing for the day that it might. And she has been gathering all the information on any being she can find that might describe what happened and what this was. But immediately after the massacre, Arielle supported Zeke as best she could, being 17, still in high school. She refused the beta and delta positions, which are the the second and third. Basically, they're the two most powerful people in the pack, other than the alpha himself. She was technically dominant for either of the positions, but she didn't want them. She didn't think she would be a good fit for them. She didn't have the patience is one of the reasons she gave Zeke.
That sounds about right.
She is many things. Patient is not one of them.
No, it's not.
She almost didn't go to college, actually. Zeke made her go the next year. He told her that one of them had to. As the alpha, Zeke couldn't leave his territory or the city surrounding it. His instincts wouldn't let him go anywhere else for days, weeks, months on end. And while online schooling was and still is a thing, he has a lot on his hands just taking care of the children that were suddenly left on him, because all that is left of his pack is children and elders. But that's going a little more into Zeke than we should be at the moment. So she went to college, and she got her degree in English and pre-law with a minor in preternatural lore. Preternatural something. But after that, she went on to law school. And soon after the beginning of that, she met Trinity, who was about 10 or 11 at the time and had run away from home. Although it took Arielle a couple of weeks to learn this. Trinity was part of the elven culture. She's an elf. And all of her life was planned out for her in these very strict, this is what you will do, including who she was going to marry and how many kids she was going to have, and she didn't want that. So she ran away because she was going to be married to her future husband within the next year, who would have been about the same age as her, but still not something she wanted. Arielle received custody of the child about a year later, and pretty much only because Ariel's pack was very financially stable, and young as she was, she put forth a very good case. But the American courts decreed that Trinity's parents were unsuitable, and laws were soon after passed that expressly forbid the marrying of 11-year-olds for any reason, even to another 11-year-old. Because apparently that was needed. She met Theodore not long after. That's her son. She was present during the car accident that killed his parents. The child was stuck in the back seat and kind of hysterical, but unharmed. And Arielle managed to get him out of the car, and took care of him until the ambulance and police arrived. Both of his parents were dead on contact. Theodore had no other family, and Arielle looked after him basically as a foster parent until it was discovered that he had no one else and would have to enter the foster system more permanently. And so she petitioned to adopt him, and obviously it was granted, which made her last year and a half or so of law school interesting. But she did it because she perseveres and is a very organized woman. And also one of the elders from the pack came out and helped her with them because she had 2 children.
Yep.
So pretty. Sorry, I'm looking at the drawing right now and just...
I will say, from an artist standpoint, Arielle is one of my favorites to draw because I love her hair.
She has fantastic hair.
Like, I likened her when I was drawing, I likened her to Jessica Rabbit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. It makes me so happy getting to draw her.
Yeah.
It was interesting because she is one of the characters that when I was designing her visually, because I have done all of the character designs for the characters themselves, and I got her. I was so worried because I was like, I'm not good at the whole 50s style, especially the hair. I don't know what kind of thing we're gonna go with. I don't know if Tara's gonna want like certain kinds of hairstyle, and like I was nervous. And then I just started drawing, and I trusted the process, and this is what came of it, and I absolutely fell in love with her design. She is easily one of my favorite ladies to draw.
She's brilliant, yeah.
If not my favorite lady to draw.
Yeah, because I remember Ty asked me for reference pictures, like what the things that I saw that thought Arielle. And I sent her a variety of options, and him a variety of options, and told him that if he could do any of this, I would be very happy. And Arielle meets everything I wanted. She is gorgeous.
She is. I look forward to designing her kids. I haven't actually gotten to do that yet. And I'm sad because as far as the showcase goes, while one of her kids actually is on the spectrum, they won't be showcased in our live streams, I don't think.
I don't believe so.
Um, unless we get a response of people wanting to see that, we have
Yeah.
we have all the live streams planned out already.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to some. I'm really looking forward to some of them. Look, I love my boys, okay?
Yes, you really do.
But back on the
Right. Back on tracks and things. Um, let's see. She has a really good relationship with most of the pack. Um, they know who she is. She knows who they are. But she's definitely closest, not including her kids because they're her kids. But other than them, she's definitely closest to Zeke, the alpha. They grew up together. They've been lifelong friends. There's really only a year between them, and they grew up as close or closer than siblings.
that's one of the things. Sorry to interrupt you. That's one of
Yeah,
the
no, go
things
for it.
I love about Arielle is she is not afraid to backtalk the alpha of the pack. Like this this woman will just flat out tell Zeke when he's being dumb, and it's
As the scene
amazing.
is the prologue.
Yeah, as seen in the prologue, where she's like, and actually that scene was actually longer. There's a little bit cut out,
Mm-hmm.
for sake of, for the sake of
Comic
my
pacing.
wrist and comic continuity and stuff like that. Stuff that would be easier to uh, convey in the comic itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wouldn't be too wordy, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, she's a firecracker, and I absolutely love it.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. And I love how their relationship is showing up in the comic. Like you can tell that they either hate each other or they adore each other. It's one or the t'other.
Yeah.
But they really do adore each other. In fact, back in high school, Zeke actually had a huge crush on her. He never confessed it, but she knew it existed and intentionally did nothing to let him know that she knew. They weren't a good match, and she didn't want to hurt him by turning him down. So they weren't going to have anything happen. Um,
Babies.
but I mean, they obviously remained good friends.
Yes.
He has Zeke. He has a good heart and good instincts, and even if he does leap to decisions, she'd rather he think through longer. She's not going to turn from him. She's there to support him and make sure he isn't being too stubborn or set in his ways. And they're as dedicated to each other as any couple, but there will never be anything between them. Zeke has moved on from his crush, by the way.
Well, I'd hope so, considering the plans we have.
Considering the plans we have, yes, yes. But my point being that he had a crush in high school, and then, like a lot of crushes, it kind of went away, or it deepened into something different, stronger. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's a sentence.
um, as for relationships, she has had a few of them, both in high school and in college. Although she never had time for it in law school. Between law school and two children, where do you find the time? Um, but none of the relationships really went that far. The two boyfriends she had in high school both wanted sex and broke up with her when she refused them because she wasn't in it for that. Um, and she just didn't see it going anywhere. They both wanted to leave Green Lake as soon as they could, and she always had plans to come back, even before the massacre. Her boyfriends in college were more understanding, but none of them really went the distance either. Mostly because they were either human and thus didn't understand her connection to her pack, as a wolf, and the need to return or be part of one, and her just distaste of most city locations. I mean, can you imagine having an Uber sniffer and Uber hearing and then being stuck in, say, New York or Los Angeles?
Portland, where she probably went to school. I can attest some of the areas reek of piss.
They really do.
Or pot. That's another one. A lot of places reek of pot.
They do. They really, really do.
I love this town, but also, oh my god. Some of the smells you will smell here is
Yeah, they really are. But no, she didn't go to college here in Portland.
Okay.
Give me a second, and I can tell you where she did go to college.
Oh.
Come here. I think I can tell you where she did go to college. Well, I could tell you where she went to law school, at the very least.
Well, that she's
Nope,
looking at.
I did not state where she went to law school. Okay.
Good job.
Well, it wasn't Oregon, because she graduated the top 10 of her class, so.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they really didn't understand her desire to not be in a city whenever possible, or to not be in a city after she graduated. And they mostly really didn't see the appeal of a small town. And if they weren't human but were a wolf, which happened a couple of times, they were more interested in having her follow them back to their pack, which would leave hers behind, and she didn't want to do that. Losing her would have been a huge blow on the Graham pack. Not because she's, like, so valuable, although she really is, but just because their numbers were so small at the time. Like, by this time, they had 3 elders, the injured warrior who survived, who would be retired soon, 1 adult wolf who wasn't present during the massacre, Zeke, who was in his early 20s at this point, and then, like, 6 kids plus her.
Kids.
Yeah, kids plus her. So the loss of a single wolf in this instance could have destroyed them.
Yeah.
And again, she'd never planned on leaving them, so none of her relations gave her enough incentive to even consider it. And so none of them really lasted.
On the note of romance, do we want to talk a little bit about what we're excited for her?
Yes, we can definitely do that. So we do have a romance plan for Arielle in the future. It hadn't been our original intention. Like, I don't know, Arielle was very sassy and very opinionated and very fiery, and that's not to say they can't have romance. They totally can have romance. But
it takes a certain type of person To be able to
It really,
handle that.
um, it does. Um, but Ariel met in our long write up of this thing before we decided to turn it into a comic. Ariel has a very brief scene where she meets this character.
I mean, I don't
And
mind giving it away if we want
okay,
to.
then tell. Then tell it.
So, one of the things that's mentioned in Hayden's bio is that he has a twin brother,
Hmm.
paternal twins, and there's going to be a scene in a coffee shop where they get to meet each other, and it's very interesting because, as I said, or as Tara said, we didn't plan this, so we wrote out the scene, or rather, I wrote out the scene,
Hmm.
and then sent it in. Tara read it, and I was like, okay, but I could ship it. And we started talking a bit more and realized that yeah, we thought they would actually be a good match. He's a bit more down to earth than Hayden is. I love Hayden, but I
He's
mean,
kind of stuck in his dreams and the way the world should work,
yeah. But
which makes him a good fit for Zeke.
yeah, Andy or Andrew, I think it's Andrew, but he goes Hayden calls him Andy.
Hmm.
Is he's very normal, honestly. He's not a wizard like his brother. In fact, he has enough training to contain his magic, and that's really it.
Hmm.
Um,
He doesn't want to be a mad wizard. He
he
doesn't want to use magic.
doesn't want anything to do with that. And so, uh, yeah, it felt like that could be a really good match for her because somebody who would understand her, especially also completely understand her connection to her family and
Hmm.
wanting to stay. Uh, Also, while he is not asexual, he still knows enough to respect her
Hmm.
being so, and is basically like, that's fine. I don't need sex to be in a relationship with you.
Hmm.
He's a
And
good man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's a little bit about him. In context to Ariel. Don't want to talk
Hmm.
too much about him because yeah.
Yeah.
He will actually be briefly introduced in the coming chapter.
His voice will, at least.
Like I said, briefly introduced.
He will be, yes. Um. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. But I'm also really excited about watching Ariel interact with Hayden. Uh,
He does not know how to handle her at first, and it's amazing.
it
She
really is.
intimidates him.
Okay, to be fair, though, she's very intimidating.
I would be a little bit intimidated by her as well. But then you get to know her, and she's a
She's not
very fun
quite a
person.
marshmallow.
No, she's not.
No,
She's not Zeke.
no.
Um,
Oh God, no. Um, but every interaction she has with Zeke is interesting.
yes, yes, it is.
Because, as we've
Um,
said, he may be the alpha, but he's very easygoing, and he doesn't care that people tell him no or contradict him. And it's a policy Ariel takes advantage of.
yeah, yeah, she really does. She's probably the one that takes the most advantage of it. Next
Oh,
to, there's one other character I think that takes about as much advantage of that. And that is actually a character I believe we are showcasing later. Is it going to be this month? I don't have that up.
Who are we talking about?
Trisha.
Oh, Trisha. Um. Oh, she definitely abuses it more than Trisha. Trisha only abuses it when she's got a reason to.
That's fair.
Yeah, we are. No, the 1st of May is when
1st of
Trisha's
May,
is.
okay.
But that's another character I enjoy. So, we have a lot of strong females in this.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
Which actually does have a lot to do with Arielle, even. So, because it's part of her character inspiration. Like, we talked about how one of her inspirations was the 50s housewife vibe. That's stayed true since her very first incarnation. It was literally written into her little character profile I wrote for myself. It's very much Arielle's aesthetic. And as I said, I'm really happy with how she's turned out and everything about her. But another thing that came about for her from the very beginning, and was that I wanted her to be a very strong female character. And this was before we decided on our beta and our delta, before we decided that they were strong females as well. And this was before the creation of Trisha, who's also quite a spitfire.
She really is.
Arielle was the first. And she was literally created to go head to head with Zeke, and show that she be very dominant, but also not be one of the dominant places in the pack. Because you could be dominant and not want it. You can have other goals and still be a strong, capable female. But all 4 of them are really different. And we've talked about this a couple of times. Ty and I have.
We have.
Zoe is the beta. First of all, she's very tall, very lean, very strong in personality and physical strength. She prefers pants over skirts, which nothing wrong with that. I do that a lot. I mean, I like my skirts, but pants are just more convenient. And she is very dangerous when she wants to be. Like,
oh yeah.
Anyone who comes after her pack is probably going to die.
That is amazing. So, I just did something. I selected a color from the just to finish to do this, so I could see the white. But all I did was opened you can't see it, my color settings, and just kind of picked a color. And then I went to grab this color from the flag, and it's the same color. I straight up managed to pick the exact same color as what I had already put down. Which I chose because I wanted the white to show up.
That's beautiful.
This is my life. Let's make this a little darker. There we go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The life of an artist. Anyways, continue.
Just it's Zoe. So Clara is the Delta, the 3rd in command. She's the exact opposite of Zoe. She's short and compact. In fact, she is barely 5 foot even. She is just as dominant a wolf as Zoe is, but she's less likely to show it unless she needs to. She's all smiles and hugs and
I did that wrong.
Comfort until trouble arrives. Like you wouldn't look at this woman and think that she could throw your ass down on the ground and break bones. But she can. And she's almost more terrifying than Zoe because of it. Almost.
Almost.
But Trisha is a teenager, 15. She cares little about her personality except where she needs to be neat and clean and everything. But she's also very forceful in her personality and quick to defend herself and sometimes quick to anger, as teens are wont to be.
As we will showcase in one of our scenes that will come up eventually.
Uh-huh.
She knows how to protect herself.
Oh, yeah.
At the cost of someone's balls.
Look, her outfit taught her to go for the weak points because that's where she's most likely to be able to get away fast. And if there's one place her alpha knows is a weakness for men, it's that area.
Yeah.
But Arielle, in contrast to those three, because that was the entire point of me talking about them here, is a strong woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to work for it or go get it or speak her opinion. But she also has this strong desire to look good and be very feminine. As you can see in the picture, she's almost got this femme fatale thing going for her. Like these women are very different, and they're all perfect the way they are. Part of Arielle's concern with her appearance is her job. Lawyers have to be well put together and they have to appear successful, at least that's what Hollywood tells us. But Arielle takes that to heart and always needs to look her best. It's part of who she is, and she's not ashamed of that. You don't have to be beautiful to be a strong, independent woman, as we'll see in other parts. But this is part of who she is, and it's part of her armor, almost, being this well put together at all times. Even if she's had 2 hours of sleep the night before, you will not be able to see it on her. Again, as you can see in the showcase, or not the showcase, the prologue. You can bet for this photo shoot Arielle got a full 8 hours of sleep.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing again.
That's fine. What are you doing?
I'm doing things. That's helpful. That's helpful, Ty.
Really? Uh-huh.
I think this is what I used from that.
That. Da, 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 da. And then I spoke about all of that. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's strong woman. The fact that she is asexual is really only a part of her identity. It's not something she hides, but it's also not something she comes out to random passersby or even just first acquaintances. She doesn't say, "Hi, my name is Arielle, gay born, and I'm asexual." She doesn't see the need for it.
That'd be weird.
Huh?
That'd be weird.
But again, she doesn't like hide it either. If she's in a relationship with someone and it seems to be heading in that direction, she will definitely sit down and say, no, and here's why. And if that's not something you can
Abide.
be okay with, then we probably shouldn't get any deeper than that. Because if they are looking for a relationship that has a physical component to it, then they're not a good match for her, and she's not a good match for them. And trying to push it in that direction or try and make it work that way.
Yes, that's not happening.
No, it's not. First of all, she can and will defend herself, and she too knows where all your tender, fragile parts are. But yeah, she's not necessarily looking for a relationship. I mean, we now know she will have one, but she's happy with her life, with who she is, with her children, with her pack. And if someone pops by who happens to be a good fit, well, she will happily give them a chance. But if no one does, then she's not going to mourn over it. She's not a damsel in need of rescuing. In fact, she'd probably rather do the rescuing.
So part of her personality kind of reminds me of Megara from Hercules.
Uh-huh.
Just the,
yeah.
I'm a damsel, I'm in distress. I don't even remember the full line.
No, I don't need your help.
Something like that.
A little, yeah. Yeah. Except this one won't be spying on you for Hades. Unless you think Zeke is Hades, which you shouldn't. He's not trying to kill anyone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's I'm a damsel, I'm in distress, I can handle this, have a nice day. I feel like that is very much her.
That is very much her. Yes. Very much her.
Also, God, I just love how this sort of shading and stuff has been going. That's a note that has nothing to do with the character, but for anyone watching this, the shading of the comic as of the first few pages coming out next week. They're gonna be a bit different in style. Just in the case of the coloring and shading, well, not the coloring, but the shading and background shading and stuff like that. I've kind of figured out a bit more about these nifty little things. And yeah.
Yeah. And he likes how they look.
Yeah, I really like how they look. Boop.
Which is, yeah. The artist should always be happy with their work.
Come on.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Invert that by 5.
Let's see. Oh, we do still have something left. Cool.
Which is good because I'm I'm almost done.
Okay. All right. So we really only have two things to talk about left. Her motivations. She really only has 3 main motivations. The first is her children. She found them both in bad situations, and she wants to watch them grow and blossom to their best possible selves. She makes sure they have plenty of her time, and despite a heavy workload, she knows that her pack is as supportive of them as she is. So it's very much it takes a village. It is how the pack views raising children. Zeke is another of her main motivations. Watching him grow into a strong, capable alpha who is confident in himself and his decisions has taken 10 years, and she is not sorry she got to witness most of it. She always knew. Look, she was away at college most of the time, okay?
Oh, I thought maybe she was embarrassed by him for part of it.
I mean, this is Arielle, so probably.
This is Ariel, and Zeke is, I wouldn't
Is
say
a marshmallow.
dumb, but
No, he's a marshmallow.
he is.
Anyway, she always knew he would make an excellent. Okay, and every year just proves her correct. And she knows that if anything ever threatens them again, Zeke will let no harm come to them. And she'll be by his side every step of the way, making sure that their pack thrives. Which brings us to her third motivation, her pack. She is the pack. The pack is her. Together they're strong, separate they're weak. They've spent the last 10 years rebuilding everything. They've gone from a pack of 12 full of children and elders. By the way, elders are wolves over 50 years of age, and most of the ones that remain are somewhere between 60 and 80 years old. All three of them are. The other one is. Actually, no, all four of them are. Um, so she knows that they can overcome anything so long as they stay together. Which is why she never could leave them. That also brings us to her greatest fear, the loss of her pack and everything she loves. She's been through it once already. She wouldn't survive it a second time. That might be the only thing that would break her. And she knows it.
Baby.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's Arielle Born, and this is Arielle Born on screen.
Yeah. So there we have it. Ariel with the asexual flag, because that is, I mean, her representation.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely, as is shown, we definitely support everyone in the in the LGBTQ plus community, um, being part of it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you as asexual and myself as pansexual and transgender.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because of that, one of the things we really wanted to kind of showcase in the comic is that um, this sort of thing is normal.
Mm-hmm.
You can be, you know, trans or gay or anything, and it shouldn't be your entire character.
It's not.
And
You
that's
should.
definitely one of the things that's going to come up is that our characters aren't defined by their by an individual trait.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden is not defined by the fact that he is trans.
No.
He is, you know, a capable young man, a wizard, and just like that, Ariel is a very, very capable woman who, like we said, will not take any kind of bullshit. Um,
No.
and she's just amazing, and she just happens to be ace as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so all of this is just, it's very important to us because I mean it is us, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of our friends, and it may just well be a lot of our viewers or a lot of our fans. I know I am friends with some of our patrons, and I believe at least one of them is. So it's it's good to have that sort of representation that isn't the gay friend who's so obviously gay and it's his whole character.
Yeah. Like there's if there's one thing you will see in our comic, it's that no one is obviously anything.
There we go.
Um, and we're also not going to be coming out and just saying, uh, in the comic itself, hey, basically, hi, my name is such and such, and this is my place on the rainbow.
No.
Like,
In fact, it's not. It hasn't happened yet, and it's probably not going to for a little while. But Hayden never is he's never actually going to quote unquote come out to the pack,
and such.
because, well, first of all, they're a bunch of wolves. They can smell things, and none of them care, so they don't bring it up.
Yeah, they don't bring it up. Then Hayden has no reason to share it unless he starts getting heavy with someone and he needs to warn them that bottom surgery hasn't been a thing.
Yeah. And don't worry about the scars on my chest. I'm fine. More about him later, I believe in May, or he might be the last one. I don't remember.
Hayden, May 22nd. He is not the last one.
Our stream for May 22nd will be more on Hayden, which will be nice and I believe we're also doing Zeke later because...
I believe we're doing Zeke twice.
Are we? Okay. And that'll be a good thing. We might change that. We might only do Zeke once.
That's fine. Trinity instead?
Yeah, I think we'll do Trinity. So look forward to that. We're gonna showcase Trinity here. I don't know when that one. May 29th. So month and 20 days.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll probably be releasing a list. It'll be on our Patreon, but then it will also be shared on our Facebook and our Twitter. And we'll have a list of the dates of our streams and what characters are going to be showcased and what their little piece of the rainbow is.
Yeah.
That I can probably do that later today. That won't be too hard. So I guess we do the closing stuff now.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a short stream, not too terribly many, or not too terribly long. I don't know why I said many.
They all of them will probably be about this length.
Because one of the things I will be doing is I need to fix something. I will be sketching the pictures beforehand, and then I will be lining and coloring, shading, all that stuff like I did today during the stream. That kind of cuts it so we don't have to do a whole lot, because I know last stream we were going for quite a while and I never even got close to finishing the picture.
To finish it later.
But that being said, that will change.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you for joining us today. We hope this was enjoyable as well as informative, and that you liked what you heard. Let's see. Next week we will be showing. Who is next week? Give me a sec.
Is it one of my boys? Is it one of my boys?
Nope, Zoe.
Oh, Zoe! She's my other favorite girl to draw, actually. I love her.
Um, and
She's an ally, isn't she?
she is an ally.
Okay,
Yes, she is
so.
a cis female ally. Um, wait, this is April.
Oh.
This is April. No, it's Zeke. Zeke is next week.
Oh! Zeke is next week! Okay. Well, there we go.
Sorry, I was looking at May. I'm really excited for May, apparently.
Apparently. So that'll be fun. I'm excited for that. I've never drawn a full body picture of Zeke. Uh,
That'll be fun.
so I will be
Um,
sketching that this
yeah.
later this
So
week.
Zoe is not until May. Zeke is demisexual, which, as stated at the very beginning, somewhere in this live stream, is someone who does not feel a sexual attraction until they have a mental and emotional connection to someone.
Yeah, it me. Which I think I said earlier too.
You did, yes, but it stands repeating.
All right though.
All right. Thank you again for tuning in. If you have,
I was gonna say, links in the description. We have our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Patreon, as well as if you want to support us on Streamlabs, that would be awesome.
Yep.
I don't want to sound like a YouTuber, but you know, like, comment, subscribe. I hate that so much.
That being said, if you have any questions either about Arielle, the pack, the world we've created, Zeke, in preparation for next week, feel free to send us a line. Facebook, Twitter, here. We would love to hear from you.
I keep finding places that need more shading. Anyways, yes.
And I believe that is us.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Y'all have a good day. There we go. Stream is ended.